Did you know, since 1985, Crime Stoppers has helped solve close to 8,000 crimes in New Brunswick? Crime Stoppers, 1-800-222-TIPS. That's 1-800-222-8477 or www.crimenb.ca.
Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. Today is Wednesday, May 29th. I can't believe it. We're at the end of May already. Soon summer's going to be over, but we will still be here. And I am now the host for What Matters Most, and our show is all about bringing some awareness to some groups, some foundations, some fundraisers, just interesting people in general that live in St. John or the surrounding area of St. John. So if you know of anybody, please let us know, and I'll bring them on television. Now, my first guest is Lori Collins, and she is with me here today. Hi, Lori.
Oh, Heather, how are you?
I'm fantastic, of course, as usual. And Lori, you're with Big Brothers Big Sisters.
I am. Big Brothers Big Sisters of St. John is our official title, but we are Big Brothers Big Sisters, and we serve from Sussex all the way down to Charlotte County.
Wow.
Yes.
How long has Big Brothers Big Sisters been around?
The national organization actually has been around since, I think we're about 107 years now.
Wow.
The St. John Agency, I think, started back around 1972-ish.
Okay.
With some work, just before that with some folks in the community to get us up and running.
Nice.
So yeah, we've been serving the St. John community since 1972.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a nice long time.
It is.
Yeah.
It is a long time.
I won't age myself, but I
No.
was around then too.
I was born before then.
So tell us a little bit about what is Big Brothers Big Sisters doing these days?
Well, we're always pretty busy, so we have lots of things going on, but our big sort of push now is volunteer recruitment.
Oh,
So,
yes, very
I know
important.
everyone's struggling, to get volunteers,
Yeah.
but us in particular, we rely, all of our programs are volunteer-driven, volunteer-run, so we usually have 250 to 300 volunteers a year.
Okay.
Which we have lots of great folks helping us now, but we are always in need of more folks to help with the mentoring programs.
Excellent. And what age groups are you looking for volunteers?
Actually, you could be as young. We do have some like in-school teen mentoring, so
Oh,
grade
okay.
11 and 12 kids actually do volunteer for the in-school teen mentoring, and they work with younger kids during the school year. And then you can be as old as 99 and counting, because as long as you're able to, to kind of talk with the child and be there in a consistent way, and show a child that you care about them and you like them and you want to help
Oh.
them succeed, then you could be as old as you can.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So that's really great for like the senior groups.
Oh, absolutely.
It has. Do you pair people up with certain
We do.
demographics and age groups?
We do. All of our programs are, like I say, volunteer based. So
Okay.
we have a lot of one-to-one programs where kids are matched one-to-one either in their school or in the
Okay.
community. And they're matched one-to-one with either a big brother or a big sister. And then we've had the big couple program running for quite some time, which is pairing up a child with two people who are in a relationship.
Okay.
So the child has two role models instead of one.
Oh,
So
that's
that kind of
really
works for
interesting.
some folks.
Okay.
And then we also have some small group programs where we pair up like two female mentors
Mm-hmm.
with a group of young girls for our Go Girls program.
Oh,
And then
cool.
we do the same on the side with the Game On program for boys. So
Nice.
we typically have male volunteers who work together in pairs and work with a small group of kids.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
so a wide
fantastic.
variety of programs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that's changed, hasn't it? It's over the years.
It has over
Yeah.
the years. I mean, typically in the past, our programs were focused on the Big Brother, Big Sister program, and I think that's what a lot of people recognize us for. Still sort of have that mind frame of, that's what we do, is just Big Brother, Big Sister in the community. But actually, we do so much more in the schools now. Our in-school mentoring program came about, I think, in 2000 with partnership with J.D. Irving. They were kind of our first formalized company who works with us and provides adult employees an hour off a week to go to a local school and be matched with a child one-to-one And really, it's about relationship building,
Okay.
not about tutoring. So our
Right.
programs are a little bit different that way. But we just have so many different types of volunteers, types of kids, types of families using our services. So traditionally we were known, and I think some people still think we just do the big brother, big sister in the community.
Oh,
but we
okay.
just do so much more.
Yeah, you certainly do. And I'm
Yeah.
actually learning a lot about that right now.
Good. Good. Well, that's what I'm here for, to educate, right?
You're doing a good job.
Good.
Yes. So you have an event coming up, is that correct?
We have multiple events, so
Okay.
I wasn't sure, which one we should focus on, but I think the big book sale this
yeah.
time of year is something that people really recognize us for.
Yes.
So it's a great service for the community, but also, a good fundraiser for us.
Yeah.
We did just finish our biggest fundraiser, which was our Bowl for Kids' Sake, which was phenomenal, and we're just, kind of wrapping up that event. But now, starting June 3rd, we start collecting gently used books.
Okay.
And then we put them all together. We do a lot of sorting all summer and boxing, and then it's August 19th to the 24th.
Is the book
It's
sale?
a week-long sale.
Okay.
And it's during mall hours, and so it's in Brunswick Square.
Okay.
From 10 to 6 daily,
Okay.
Monday through Saturday of that week. And we have usually some sales on the Saturday to get rid of a lot of the extra stock, because we don't have a lot of storage space throughout the year. But so our partners, Sobeys, all the Sobeys stores have bins that they host for us for people to drop books there.
Oh, is
if
that
you
right?
have a few bags, but if you have like a truckload, then typically people will give us a call. They'll pull up outside our office, and out we go with the carts. And actually, people were tagging us last year on Twitter, watching us, empty people's cars and bring them in, and then we put them in our room. And we have lots of volunteers from different companies who actually come in and help us sort the books all summer long. So that's
Nice.
always something we need, volunteer help with. 'Cause it's a lot of work.
I bet, yeah.
But the sale itself, we love the sale, because you just see the books flying off the shelves, off the tables. We have I think it's the biggest book sale in this area, I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
now.
I'm sure it might be in the Guinness Book of World Records, shouldn't it?
Well, it should be. It should be, at least according to our staff.
most,
Because, yeah.
most books sold in a day.
Yes, exactly. The first
'cause
day, it's just
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
I know that there's so many people that attend that. And
Yes,
it's on the
yes.
It's on the ground level, isn't
Usually,
it? Or the
yes.
first
Yeah,
floor?
we haven't quite confirmed that yet, but
Okay.
the mall sometimes likes to switch it around. But
Sure.
typically, yes, it's on the lower level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I did send a picture. I'm not sure if someone wants to bring one up on the screen to show folks, but it's a lot of, we think we probably sort and sell maybe 100,000 books.
Are you serious?
And they're sold from 50 cents all the way to maybe $4.
Yeah.
So it's a really good deal, and the quality of the books is amazing.
Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic.
as well.
I'm so
Yeah.
pleased that so many people support it.
Yes.
Yeah, I know that when I was cleaning out my home of books,
Right.
and I dumped about 4 or 5 of those totes
Right.
of books, and I was so pleased that they were going to such a good cause.
Absolutely,
rather
yes.
than
Thank you.
just-
Yeah,
Oh,
we appreciate that support.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure I have more.
Well, June 3rd, we're ready and open for either delivery at Sobeys or delivery at our office.
Where's your office, Laura?
We're actually in Brunswick Square. We're on the 3rd level. So it's
Okay.
very convenient for us to come out right to Germain Street.
Okay, so that
Yeah.
would be the entrance right near Cora's,
Right near
correct?
Cora's, yeah. And actually,
okay.
our office just recently moved over to that side of the building, so we're right there.
Cool.
So it does make things easier when people come up with trunk loads and car loads of books that we
Excellent.
can just run out and empty them out, and then we sort them, and
Good.
they're all during the sale they're all put in sections.
Oh, okay.
So people can find
The
things
science and-
easily.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how can I become a big brother or big sister?
Well, the process
what's the
sort
process?
of has a few steps to
Okay.
it. So, of course, initially you have to contact us and say you're interested.
Sure.
Fill out the volunteer application form.
Okay.
And then once we get that in our hands, there's a few steps after that. So one being a volunteer interview. So our intake worker, Kim, would meet with you, would run you through an interview. And then we would check references. You have to provide 3 references at least.
Okay.
Different types of references. And then we also would require a criminal record check with the vulnerable sector check. And then also a social development check, which is all for safety, of course, for making sure that you're a safe person to be around the kids.
Sure.
But the interview helps a lot because our national office provides guidance on all of our screening processes, and we are pretty much recognized as the best at screening folks.
Is that right?
And not everybody makes it through the screening process. I will be honest there, but most people are have genuine intentions and good intentions. So after the interview and the reference checks and the background checks. We do require volunteers to go through a child safety training course, which
very good.
which really goes over boundaries, healthy relationships, secrets versus surprises, those kind of healthy. Because today we don't really teach kids boundaries and how to be safe, and there's so much as we hear about child safety concerns that we're really strong advocates for educating people about how you should be acting around children and how to help children recognize safe behaviors and when their boundaries are being gradually broken, because it's a very strong concern.
For sure.
So we do provide that training to volunteers, parents, and the kids, so everyone has the same messages. And then we pretty much sort of our caseworkers. I always get caseworkers, mentoring coordinators. So that's what they've had 2 different titles over the years. So I tend to use the old work coordinator. Yeah. So so they will basically try to select a child that would fit with your personality, their personality, if you have the strengths or the skills needed to help a certain child. So pretty much they're kind of experts at matching people.
That's really nice.
Yeah. So like some organizations will just take the first child, the first volunteer, and match them up. That's not always the best option because it may not work. The long term, we like matches to be really long term. So trying to match up folks, with skills and what the child needs in particular is always a challenge. But we do a really good job at that.
So if one of the ways that people can kind of catch up on what's going on, would Facebook be a good?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we keep our Facebook pretty up to date, and we share lots of exciting stuff on there. So yeah, we do have our Facebook page.
Yeah. And your website has probably your events, does it?
It does. Yes, we do have an events page there, and we have a Twitter account.
Oh, you do?
We do a little bit of Instagram as well. But yeah, we try to stay in there in the social media.
Excellent,
Yeah,
excellent. Sure. Well, I hope that the book fair is going to be extremely exciting. And
yes.
you have. Once the book fair, what else is coming up right away?
Well, our AGM, annual general meeting, is the 19th of June at our office, so we'd like to have people attend there. Okay. And then we always have our big Inspire Mentoring Awards, where we really recognize mentors in the community, and that's in November.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lori, and stay tuned. We will have Gina Julian with MAD right after this.
Wow,
Are you the type who would keep going or stop? It's not easy to stop when you have an addiction. Legalizing cannabis won't stop addiction. It trivializes its consumption. Let's be vigilant. If you need help, visit portage.ca.
Bandu, Senegal, 1760.
When he was only 16, Richard Pierpoint was enslaved in Senegal and taken to America.
A young Richard Pierpoint looks through cell bars. Upper Canada, 1812.
All us men have sworn on this petition to fight.
You're an old man. The British Army has militias and trained soldiers.
I fought with the British during the American Revolution.
Pierpoint stands before a commanding officer.
Take your land and farm it. Leave the Americans to us.
Pierpoint leans in toward the officer.
With respect, sir. I was born a free man, and I intend to die one. Your officers fight for land and money. I fight for my freedom.
Pierpoint walks away from the desk.
Richard Pierpoint was one of thousands of black loyalists who won their freedom in the American Revolution. 30 years later, at the age of 68, he petitioned for an all-black unit that would defend Upper Canada during the War of 1812.
Food is really important to me. It really is. I like to eat it. I like to cook it. I like to share it.
Wow! You may now kiss your bride.
I'm coming home. My bags are packed. I'm coming home. No, there's no turning back. I'm coming home.
She's so beautiful.
It's been too long. I'm coming home.
We're married!
Do you have information about a crime that has occurred or is about to occur? This information can help solve crimes, and tipsters always remain anonymous. Crime Stoppers, 1-800-222-TIPS or www.crimenb.ca.
Thank you so much for staying tuned and watching my second guest for this evening, and her name is Gina Hooley, and she is here with Matt. We're going to learn a little bit about that.
Hey,
Hi,
Heather.
Gina.
How's it going?
I'm fantastic.
Thanks for having me back.
Of course. I think it's been over a year since you were here the first time.
Oh, yeah, certainly, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what's Matt doing these days?
So actually, we've got our major fundraiser coming up this Saturday, June
Fantastic.
1st. It's really crept up on us, with the weather and everything kind of
Let's not go there.
dampening our moods. It's like, oh, it's the end of May. Let's
Yeah.
do this. So this Saturday, Rockwood Park, 10 a.m. is registration, 11 a.m. is the walk. So the
Okay.
walk's up to 5 kilometers. I'll be honest, I might do a kilometer of the walk, but there's lots of energetic people that keep running right past me. They passed me more than once, and I'm still
Okay.
getting my one click in. So all skill levels are welcome to this event. Kids, grandparents with walkers. You know what I mean? It's wheelchair accessible.
Yes.
So we do that, and then at 12 o'clock we have a barbecue presented to us by Sobeys.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it's really good too.
Are they providing more than just hot dogs and hamburgers? Or?
Hot dogs, hamburgers, and refreshments.
Nice.
Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic. So the walk, how many years has it been that
This
you've
will
been
be
doing
our
the walk?
14th annual here in St. John.
Wow.
Yeah.
My
So,
gosh.
and like I said, it's at Rockwood, so they call it Fisher Lakes, the A-frame. The old, to my age, it's the old canteen,
Okay.
right by where the lifeguards are.
Oh,
So-
okay. So it's not where the Lily Lake Pavilion is.
No.
It's the other
Yeah,
area.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Very
you would go
good.
into the parking lot where the water slides used to be and just come right in. And with that area, that's what makes it wheelchair accessible, because it's a paved entrance in.
Nice.
Yeah.
So do you need any more volunteers? How's that working for you?
Okay, so everybody needs volunteers. I know we say this all the time, but yes, we need volunteers. We need volunteers for things like road checks. So we have volunteers can sign up for different things. So we have an email list for people who are just interested in doing road checks, which is basically you get to hang out with the police on a lunch hour. We stop vehicles, remind people to drive safe and drive sober.
How often does that happen, Gina?
We try to do one before every long weekend.
Okay.
And I know some people will say, like, you haven't seen us in a while, but just remember that our jurisdiction covers from Grand Bay, Westfield to Sussex. So just
Oh.
because we may not be in your neighborhood doesn't mean we're not in somebody else's.
Right.
So we do have a very large area of ground to cover. So volunteers from all those areas are appreciated. So we do things like the road checks, fundraising. We also need volunteers to do things like just picking things up, dropping them off. We have volunteers for victim support as well. So sometimes when there's new victims in the neighborhood, it's kind of nice to have that buddy system of a friend to call or to talk to, or just to know somebody's there to understand you, right, when you're going through such a crisis.
Okay.
So we have volunteers that do that as well.
So can you elaborate a little bit on that for me, the victim services?
Yeah, so victim services is, so basically, once we're notified of a victim in the neighborhood, we reach out to the family and basically it's extend our condolences, because whether they're grieving the loss of their loved ones or grieving the loss of their life that they once knew because they've now become a survivor of impaired driving.
Right.
People go through a lot in them situations and circumstances. If the family doesn't want anything, we respect that, obviously. But 9.9 times out of 10, no, people definitely want to feel like there's somebody that's got their back while they're going through such a trauma and crisis.
For sure, for sure. Sorry, I interrupted you. So
No,
what
that's
else
okay.
can people get involved in?
We're also looking for board members. So if you want to come on as a volunteer, so a board member's position only requires that they attend 10 meetings per calendar year.
Okay.
So we don't meet in July, August, or December. And we typically meet the first Tuesday of the month at noon. Our office is located at 1216 Sand Cove Road inside the Maritime Opportunity Center.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we typically meet just right there. Bring your lunch. But like we were saying, our AGM's coming up too. Like everything's just so fast approaching. And I'm just like, I don't even know where to start.
There's so much going on.
Right? So our big fundraiser is this Saturday. And then once that's all taken care of and kind of done for the year, then we have our annual general meeting coming up on June the 18th, which anybody's welcome. So like anybody's welcome. We're an open door policy. Our financial records, if you want to see them, they're there. We're very proud to say that 12% or less from a national level standpoint down is spent on administrative costs.
Wow.
So a lot of the money that is donated to us or raised through these fundraisers are put right back into the prevention and the victim services.
My gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. And so Mad and your team and your volunteers and everything, how's the effectiveness happening? Are you still in schools? Are you still doing all that type of?
So our Mad National has a school assembly program, and they have one geared towards kids K to 5, one geared toward, I believe it's called Brainstorm. They have one geared towards kids in grades 6 to 8, which I believe they call Aftermath. And then they make a new one every year for the high school presentations.
Okay.
The one that they made last, I seen it, and it kind of geared towards the anti-impaired driving drug. Because, you know, with the recent legalization of marijuana, we're definitely faced with a whole new challenge, I guess, of trying to educate and prevent drug impaired driving.
Wow. Yeah, and it's really hard to monitor that. Not that I'm trying to get any particular stats out of you, but it is impaired.
It's very hard. But the most crushing statistic that everybody needs to remember is that 31% of young people who die between the ages of 16 and 25 are killed by impaired driving.
Wow.
31% of young people, 16 to 25, and that's just heartbreaking. And with our fundraiser coming up in our AGM, we see an increase of impaired driving during June with prom season.
Of course.
The kickoff to summer parties and stuff like that. And we see an increase in impaired driving at Christmas time. So the two most major times that families should be, you know what I mean, celebrating together and being there for one another. Families' lives are being torn apart from impaired driving, a crime that is 100% preventable.
Absolutely. Wow. So what other events have you got other than the one that's coming right up?
So hopefully we have a quiet summer. We try for quiet summers. It doesn't always happen. I know on June the 9th, our volunteer Jen Letson will be at the Port Days because impaired boating, impaired on the ATV trails. I know we have a national launch also happening this Saturday in Fredericton for the anti-impaired driving on the trails.
Okay.
For the ATV club.
Oh, the ATV club. Yes.
Yeah, so, you know, we want all throttle, no bottle. So.
Oh, that's a nice little...
That's
a cute little catchy thing to remember.
Yeah, it's a catchy one, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully that the young people, like I said, because the key to eliminating impaired driving is through educating the young people, right? To prevent it from happening in the first place. So.
Mm-hmm. Do you find you're finding you're being effective to it?
I'd like to think that we are.
Yeah.
I do know that St. John released statistics last year that said they've seen a decline in impaired driving, but some of the outskirts of town have seen an incline. So, do you know what I mean? Are we just moving numbers around, or are we actually making a difference? But I do know that we've had cases, you know, there was one in Ontario with a young fella. We have coloring books for kids in grade K to 5, and the young fella ended up calling his mother in for impaired driving from the backseat of the vehicle. And he learned to do that through the ways that Mad Canada was educating the young people in the school systems.
Is that right?
So that firsthand, you know what I mean, tells me that it's working. And that's just the one that I hear of, right?
Mm-hmm.
In little small town St. John. So I'm glad that we're from a small town, a good community. The people around here are very diligent in making those 911 calls when they suspect an impaired driver. So we do appreciate that. You're saving a life. Mm-hmm. Want to remind the people that are watching this tonight, if you're ever questioning, should I make the call or not, 100% make it. You will live with no regrets after making that call. You may live with regrets if you don't.
That's right.
Right. So we want to definitely make sure that people are safe, and safe grad is something else too. We want everybody to practice, and the schools really kind of come on board and get involved with that. Sometimes with not having as many volunteers as we want, we don't get to redo all the programs that we like to do. I know in years past we had Sobeys and Lancaster Floors partner with us, and we did Safe Grad. Safe Grad flowers.
Yes.
So all of the
boutonnieres
and stuff that went out for the graduation ceremonies had a Mad Red Ribbon
Oh,
tied in them.
fantastic.
Yeah, to remind them, you know what I mean? Like tonight's going to be the best night of your night, not the last.
Right.
Right. And that's what we try to preach to the young people, right?
Yeah.
So we preach that to everybody, right? We want everybody to have a good time and enjoy themselves and be responsible.
Yeah.
But especially too, like I said, with the legalization of marijuana, consume it responsibly. Don't drive.
Yeah. Just
Do you know
take a
what I mean?
cab.
Right?
Yeah.
It's simple, plan ahead. It's like I said, it's impaired driving is 100% preventable. It's never an accident. It is a crime. And unfortunately, 4 people are killed every day in Canada on average because of this, and 175 are injured.
My gosh. I didn't realize the statistics were so high.
Yeah. It's scary once you know what I mean? Once you open your world to this. Mm-hmm. It's a reality, right? And I know sometimes parents have a hard time having these conversations with their kids, but I can tell you, I'm a parent myself. I have a teenage son, and having the conversation is a lot easier than dealing with the consequences.
Oh my gosh.
So.
Yeah, for those few minutes that you can sit and talk to your kids.
Right.
Yeah, and tell them, like, look, no matter what,
right.
where you are, when,
right.
or what time it is,
right.
you know, if you're nervous or scared of getting in a car, or know someone's driving that they've been drinking, call us. You know, and not be feeling that they're going to get in trouble. Like, that was the way my parents were, and it made a big difference because I knew that I was safe. Yeah.
Yes, and and that's our main concern. We want everybody to be safe.
Yeah.
Right. These aren't things that are to be taken lightly.
Yeah.
Right.
So have that conversation with your kids.
Yes, 100%. And like I said, we have an increase. We see it. It's statistically proven during June and December, holiday seasons. So we need to make sure that our teenagers and our graduates are going to not become the statistic of the 31%.
Exactly. Wow.
Right?
So if somebody wants to get in touch with you, Gina, so with Mad, I should say, or get involved.
Right.
Website?
Yeah, so we just use our Mad Canada national website. There's a lot of information on there for people. Actually, there's a lot of public policy, key Mad facts and stuff that you can check out. If you're ever wondering anything, everything is on the Mad Canada national website, and it's just mad.ca. Simple, not hard to get onto. But we also have our own Facebook page, so it's Mad St. John and Area Chapter.
Okay.
And I believe that it's coming up on the screen right now as we're talking, so I think that
it is.
People are seeing it, so get your pens out and write it down because we want you to like us on Facebook.
That's right.
We like you, so like us back, right?
Share it. Yep.
So, and then you can call our office. Our office is open on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Our office is only staffed 10 hours a week, but volunteers are readily available if something major was to happen. So you can call our office at 672-6188, but you can also just find me personally on Facebook if you feel like you are in a crisis or a situation, especially if you're a victim, I'm here. That's the whole point of my mission, right? MAD's mission is to stop impaired driving and to support the victims of the crime. So
awesome. Well, I think that having to make that call to MAD, or even had to make that call to you, Gina, I think would be a welcome phone call because you're super sweet and super nice. So you're doing great work, and I look forward to having you on another time and see what else MAD is doing. So it's super important.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heather, for having me.
Please stay tuned, and I'll have Paul Milner up next.
Support your local charities and win great prizes by playing bingo on Rogers TV.
Your mouth can do a lot of amazing things. And your mouth can save a life.
Hi, I'm Tom Wong. I'm just one of close to 1,000 Canadians in search of a stem cell match. We need your help.
A simple swab is all you need to register on the National Stem Cell Database. You could be the one to save a life. Find the hero in you.
Looking for the best way to get the Major League Baseball games you want to watch? Rogers Super Sports Pack has you covered. With MLB Extra Innings, you'll have a premium ticket to over 2,000 out-of-market regular season games, with all games available in HD. Don't miss the action from the games you want from both the American and National Leagues. MLB Extra Innings, part of the Super Sports Pack. For only $35.95 a month, Rogers customers get all this for one all-inclusive price. Order using your remote starting on channel 431 or visit Rogers.com today.
Do you have something to share? Let everyone know about your next meeting, your need for volunteers, or your fundraising event on the Rogers TV Community Billboard. Send us your words and we'll bring them to life on Rogers TV and rogerstv.com. When it's time to spread the word, go to rogerstv.com to add your announcement to the Community Billboard.
More than half of tips reported through the Crime Stoppers program are now reported online. Information about unsolved crimes, local advisories, and how to report tips anonymously can be found at www.crimenb.ca.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. I'm now with my third guest for this evening. His name is Paul Milner, and he is now a music producer, and we're going to learn a little bit about what he does. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Heather. How are you?
I'm fantastic. This is a great night. It's sunny out, and I'm happy to have all my guests
here. It's a relief, finally.
I know.
We could be in other parts of the world.
True enough. Yeah. So tell us, music producer. Now, you have an accent, but you can tell me a little bit about your history.
A lot of people ask about the accent. The music part of my life didn't start in the UK though. It began over in Canada after we moved. Okay. But I've been doing this for pretty close to 37 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've done over 500 albums, multiple countries.
Really?
Yeah, around the world, and it's been a great journey. I've worked with international artists, and I've worked with a lot of local musicians. I recently moved the business here to St. John,
yes,
and very excited to do that. Built a new studio in Uptown St. John, and moved from Prince Edward Island.
Wow.
Yeah, via Toronto, Montreal, and
then
a few years in the Caribbean. So.
Nice. You've had an exciting life.
Yeah. The business got me around quite a lot.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you said you built a studio in Uptown St. John. Can you kind of give us an idea where you are located? Or I'm sure we will put up a Facebook or information how to reach you. But what kind of music producing do you do? Is it so if I say I can sing and I come to you and are you going to turn me into a Beyonce, or are you kind of like, no, we can record you?
It depends if you've got a good ear, if you can actually sing and you have talent.
Correct.
I mean, technology today allows us to do all kinds of things. And one of the things I like to stay away from, though, is autotune, because it's an easy tool, and we can make anybody sound good these days. However, talent's a prerequisite for me to work with them, and it's expected. The more talent a person has, a group has, the better the project's going to be. There's no question. But technology helps out, and I have a lot of that in the new place. Okay. I've got a lot of old and new technology, both analog and digital.
Okay.
And so we can turn people into stars. That's the idea. But most of the time, it's just making singer-songwriters recordings, great albums that they can enjoy and the fans can enjoy. The business has changed a lot, of course, over the last 37 years.
Sure.
And I started with reel-to-reel tape back in the 80s, and
wow.
That's all gone now. We use totally digital recording and mixing, somewhat like the studio here.
Yeah.
So, new technology. Yeah.
Well, are you allowed to share a little bit about some of the people that you've worked with?
Sure, I think so, yeah.
Or maybe some that I might be familiar with?
Part of working in the business is being able to keep things under wraps, who you're working with and where you're working, and part of that trust is it's something that keeps you working.
Yes.
If people can trust that they're not going to find themselves on the front page with something you say. But absolutely, ask away.
Okay. So you do groups as well, right? So
absolutely.
I would say maybe small or medium-sized bands, if you can maybe elaborate on that.
A lot of my career has been developing young artists. I mean, that's what I find the most fun. I've worked for the major labels, and as I say, major labels in the UK and in the States and in Canada. However, the thing that I enjoy the most is doing those first recordings for bands. Seeing them, hearing them before anybody else.
Oh, that's
and
amazing.
Doing that first record, and when it gets them to the next level, it's it's something to really be proud of. You know, you hear them on the radio for the first time, and generally when you're working with a young artist like that, the industry as a whole isn't interested until they have that first really good album, and then people start to take notice. And everybody wants to get involved.
Yes,
and
of
so
course.
where were they when we started this? But yeah, so I take a lot of pride in finding bands first, finding new sounds, and helping them develop and hone that sound into something that's marketable.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're recording, are you able to do you duplicate the information for other people, like when they travel, or do you go with people, or do you just stay in your stationary
Strictly
area?
recording studio.
Strictly recording studio.
Yeah, I've done some live sound, and I record a lot of live albums for people. I've recorded people in front of audiences of 4,000 or 5,000 people, and done live albums that way. However, most of my work's in the studio, and yeah, I've protected my ears over the years, because I mean that's really my tool. It's what I'm hearing from the speakers that keeps me in business.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you've seen a lot of transitional changes from the old analog to digital. So how's that been for you? With
Absolutely.
the adaptation to it
It's
all?
a lot easier, but you know, at my age, having been able to keep pace with technology has been a great thing, because I've seen a lot of guys fall by the wayside. You know, I even have friends that don't email or text.
Wow.
And you know, so
still in
I've stayed. Well, yeah. I mean, it's hard to believe, isn't it? You know, the best they can do is pick up a telephone. But you know, I mean, one of the things that I've done is stay ahead of the technology and adapt. So it's helped that I have a background in the analog world.
For sure.
And that I've been able to transition into the digital world. And I've started a couple of new companies recently that are embracing that change. I'm working with new technology. We've started a company called Music VIP Connect, and the idea of it is that we can manage thousands of bands all at the same time, and we're using new technology to do it. So we're offering major label management and label services to these bands through technology, and we're hoping to deliver real-time stats to them while they're touring on the road, so they can take advantage of these things.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
and only someone like yourself would be able to foresee that, I can understand as well, being in the business, right? Is that an app? It
will be an app, yes.
Right
Right now it's all web-based. We do a thing called a music business assessment, and what we do is we take the new groups or artists.
Yes.
It can be an established artist, but we look at about 600 points of the career. We gather the data, and that spits out a 35-page report. That 35-page business report tells them how well they're running the business. It doesn't give them information like how well are you doing on the radio, how famous are you, you need to do a better record. It's not subjective in that way. What it's doing, it's looking at what you're doing as a business, as a music business, your own business, and how you relate, how you compare to other successful businesses in that area. So it's business 101 for musicians, essentially. A lot of guys, you know, they start bands, they start playing music and writing songs, and they have no idea about the business side of it. They just want to meet girls and have fun.
Is that all it is? It's all about meeting girls and looking really cool. Speaking of like the whole enthusiasm side of it, what's your high points that you've had in your career? What are some of your most memorable times?
I worked with a guy named Keith Richards from the Rolling Stones.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And I said if I hadn't done another thing in the music business, I'd be perfectly happy with that. I'd died and gone to heaven at that point. That was back in 1987, and here I am still making music.
Wow, and he's still around too, isn't he?
He's rocking now. I mean,
as far as I know,
he just released the album that I worked on with him in 1987.
Yeah.
His first solo album, Talk Is Cheap.
Is that right?
He just re-released it on vinyl as a box set.
Oh my gosh, how was he to work with? I mean, I'm sure
great.
everybody knows who he is, you know, heard of Keith Richards, but was he interesting.
You know, you expect this bad boy of rock and roll. You know, I thought this is either going to be hell or it's going to be great, and it was really fantastic. He's one of the brightest music guys I've ever worked with. He knows what he's doing. He's a composer, arranger. He's extremely talented.
Wow.
And he's a family guy. Yeah. He actually drove up to Le Studio in Quebec with his family in the Volvo station wagon.
Is that right?
Yeah. And he had the family, he had his wife Patty and the twins and Angie, his daughter, slept on the couch throughout the whole recording.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Any others that you kind of remember top notch?
I've worked with some great Canadian producers like Jim Valance, who produced Glass Tiger.
Yes.
I worked on the second Glass Tiger album with Jim, and that was a real honor.
Excellent.
Yeah, Haywire.
Oh yeah, one of my
good old
favorites.
PEI band. Yeah.
PEI group, that one, yes.
And more recently, Matt Anderson. We won 2 Junos for that, and for the album we did. Jeff Liberty from town here managed Matt at the time, and I produced the record. We went over to England and recorded it with Eric Clapton's old band.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and Matt wrote all the songs in my little cottage in Prince Edward Island.
Yeah.
And and it turned out fairly well for him.
Yeah.
Chucky Danger Band, they're now Paper Lions. We did an album for them that won Pop Album of the Year at the ECMAs in 2006, and they're still going strong.
Yeah. So the local music scene, we've got a couple minutes. What do you think of it?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
There's so much talent out there. The problem is, what do you do with the music? How do you sell it? How do you get the audiences out? And how do you monetize that?
Right.
And build it into a career? And those are some of the challenges that we're helping people address with Music VIP Connect.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So, Paul, for someone that's seeing this for the first time, knowing now that you're existing now in St. John, it is VIP Connect?
Music VIP Connect.
Music VIP Connect. Best way to contact you would be on your...
Through the website or Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, the studio is also on there, Trillium House Studio, and you can find my name on the web as well. Yeah.
So the first meeting with you is there a big pay down to sit and talk to you, or?
No, it's these days you've got to be lean and mean and business and flexible, and one of the things I love is sharing the information I've gained over the years and helping people to get started if that's the direction they want to take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I really feel that you're a great asset to St. John. I know that we have got a great music scene here, and it's only growing. So, I think you've really hit the prime time for St. John, New Brunswick.
Oh, thanks.
So,
yeah.
And I look forward to, pardon me?
I hope so.
I hope so too. I look forward to seeing, perhaps you come back and saying that, you've produced local groups. Would be amazing.
Absolutely. I'd love to share some of that with you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for being here with me tonight.
You're welcome.
Please stay tuned. I have one last guest. His name is Curtis Baird, and he's all about aquariums.
General Brock is dead. Americans hold the heights.
We are
but 100 men. They are thousands.
Sawadis. Our future was determined by our oath, not the Americans. This land does not belong to them. Comrades and brothers, remember the fame of ancient warriors. Let not their numbers frighten you. I know in my heart, before the sun falls behind these hills, our enemy will have fallen before you.
Well, what can we hold them?
At the Battle of Queenston Heights, 80 Grand River warriors, including John Norton and John Brand, held off the Americans for hours to help take back the heights.
Innovators have revolutionized how we move,
Suddenly, the world gets faster.
how we interact,
It's about the genius of individuals.
how we work,
It brings knowledge to the people.
eat, play, and live.
You're tasting history, geography, you're tasting the land.
Imagine a life without these innovations.
It'd be mass chaos on a global scale.
The world would be a terrifying place.
How would it impact you?
It just goes on and on.
History Erased. New episode Friday at 10 on History. Did you know, since 1985, Crime Stoppers has helped solve close to 8,000 crimes in New Brunswick? Crime Stoppers, 1-800-222-TIPS. That's 1-800-222-8477 or www.crimenb.ca.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. I'm now with my fourth guest of this evening, and this show has flown by so fast. So we got lots of exciting news on our show this evening. Curtis is here with me. Hi, Curtis.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, good. So Curtis Baird, you have just recently started your own business, haven't you?
Yes, beginning of last year actually started Maritime Aquatics. I think it was around February, but it wasn't what it is today. Originally, I started out sort of looking to help people in the community with their fish and aquariums. I noticed on the local aquarium club page on Facebook that a lot of people are asking the same questions. First, people starting out with new tanks and same problems.
Sure.
And I thought, instead of writing a paragraph each time on these comments, why don't I sort of make a website that I can share with them and they can get some knowledge. And then I sort of realized maybe it'd be easier if I just go to their place.
Right.
So after a few months of opening or running the website, sort of a blog style, so different categories with different topics underneath, I started with sort of looking around, see what I can do, and realized aquarium maintenance and installation as well would be the best route, sort of like a pool maintenance, going, testing the water, changing it.
Sure.
And my parents actually went away on vacation for 2 weeks and left me home. I was in school at the time, so I got bored and thought I'd start a business and started looking around how to do that. It was kind of tricky. So I was doing a lot of online research and talking with New Brunswick government, sort of SNB there, and getting business number, sort of see where I could take things. And
Sure.
So far it's expanded quite quickly in the past year. So
Excellent, excellent. So how long have you been a hobbyist of aquarium? What would you call it, aquarist?
Yeah.
Aquarium?
Yeah, aquarium enthusiast.
Aquarium
Many
enthusiast.
names for it. So
Yeah.
Personally, it probably started when I was around 10 or 11 years old. So
Okay.
I think 12 or 13 years I've been at it. Started with my mom bringing home a betta fish for my birthday, and the
Wow.
addiction grew from there. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. So how many tanks do you have?
Currently, I have 3 tanks with water in it, 5 that are ready to be set up soon, and a pond outside as well. The maximum I've had was probably 8 tanks at one time in my bedroom.
Wow.
So
That's cool.
I used to breed fish as well, so sort of helped with building the knowledge of how to keep them and keep them happy. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But I got a new rule in the house that no more tanks. So I got around that by selling 1 tank and upgrading to a larger size. So
Perfect.
no gallon limit.
Right.
And I realized that by helping other people around the city that I can have other tanks without actually having them at my house. So.
Well, that's right, because you're maintaining them.
Yeah.
Correct, correct. What do you find is a big myth to people about fish tanks?
Probably the expense of owning one. The setup can be a little pricey, but after it's all set up and running, it's water changes and fish food that last quite a few months. And even saltwater tanks, I find they're growing in popularity lately. They're pretty, the fish are a little more pricey, but they're a lot, there's a lot of beauty to them, and you can get coral.
Yeah.
Set up a whole reef in your living room, basically. So again, startup, a little pricey, but once you get going in it, a lot of people find that they really enjoy it, and it's definitely worth the extra little bit of work.
For sure, for sure. And so you have a few clients now to start with your business.
Yep.
And are they pretty interested in adding more tanks, or are they kind of happy with what they have? Or what kind of tanks are you managing right now?
Right now, there's a few larger companies around the city that I do. I'm more commercial, so doctors' offices, there's a couple of big name people well known around the city that I do. The most recent one is with Horizon Health, actually, at the St. Joseph's Hospital in the X-ray department.
Oh, yes.
The tank's pretty well known around the city, I found out, but they're looking at doing a fundraiser right now. So they're looking at upgrading their tank, and they're sort of deciding if they want to go freshwater with it or saltwater.
Oh, wow.
So they sort of contacted me to see about ongoing maintenance, and I'll be donating an aquarium to them. So they're looking at upgrading to a 75-gallon. Doing the maintenance for it as well after that. So currently they're doing some fundraising to get the initial funds to get the aquarium set up and some fish and livestock for it as well.
Excellent.
They currently sell books at the location, and they've recently moved to social media, 50-50 draws and stuff like that as well.
Oh,
so,
yeah, to do the upgrade.
Yep.
Excellent. So you should get some little stingrays for the X-rays.
Yeah.
Just a hint. I think that would be great.
A lot of people actually do sort of go with themes with what their business is, so they'll get certain kind of fish to go with what their business is.
Sure.
So.
I know that on TV you'll see a lot of shows about like tanks and people making these massive tanks and such. And it's not so popular here in New Brunswick, but do you find people are more enthusiasts about tanks and aquariums now than they ever been, or?
I find commercial-wise, it's growing. So like I mentioned, the doctor's offices and dentists.
It's calming to watch fish, right?
Waiting room and stuff like that. But it's on the decline slightly with families and stuff. Just people are so busy nowadays.
Sure.
So people are more going towards the betas. I find they're starting to gain popularity, and opposed to people getting their kids like a 10 or 20 gallon tank.
Right.
But then you still have the people, like I said, salt water starting to grow. So I find a lot of people are starting to get those tanks, which are 55 gallons or 90 gallons or even larger. So it's sort of the basic aquarium that's dying off, and the more specialty things are starting to come in now. So it's kind of interesting that the harder to do thing is becoming more popular lately. So.
Right. Well, I'm actually one of those people because I have a large tank at my home, and I looked at the two sizes, and why would I go with something small when I have to do the same maintenance to a larger tank? If you have the room, you might as well go with a larger tank.
So it sets up more of an ecosystem within the aquarium, and a lot of people sort of, I find, are annoyed with their 20 gallon or 10 gallon tank because it's so much work, and I tell them, they kind of look at me weird, but I say, just get a bigger tank. And they sort of take a step back, and they're, what do you mean? And it's like, it takes care of itself, basically.
Right.
So you can get more fish too, and it's nice
Which
to
is
look
fun,
at. So,
yeah. And you can, do you suggest aquascapes? Like, what about the side of purchasing items for people's tanks? Where does that go for you?
Aquascapes, probably my favorite part of the hobby, is arranging the tank, making it look, I sort of go towards natural themes, so driftwood, lava rock, and dragonstone is really popular now, and with live planted tanks. There's lots of people locally selling plants and stuff to go with that. So what I sort of look at is what's popular now and try to get ahead of the game. And so I order in the dragonstone in bulk boxes from wholesaler, and that way I have it on hand so that either people, I'm sort of going into more retail of things as well with my online website.
Sure.
And also helps with the clients I have too. So I have it on hand. If they decide they want to change things up, I can easily go in there and change it up however they want, swap out the substrate to gravel or sand. It's really popular now, so easier to clean as well, so they like that. And there's sort of a lot of photography background to it, actually. A lot of people don't realize, but when you're framing up a picture, there's the rules of thirds and different grid lines you want to follow. So same rule of thumbs with aquariums. You want to make it balance and flow. And I try to stay away from the plastic ornaments and sort of like the classic things, but like I said, more natural driftwood, because every tank's going to be different that way, as opposed to getting the same plastic piece of decoration that everyone can buy at the store too. So
for sure. With some of the fish, are there certain ones that, for instance, if somebody's watching this evening, if they want to say get into a large tank, what would you suggest for the first type of beginner fish?
If they're doing a smaller tank, like I said, betas are really popular now. So
they don't stay in that little bowl,
no,
do they?
don't. Most stores have them in little tiny cups or mason jars, but they're only there for a week or two.
Yes.
That's just for ease of maintenance for space. And once you get them home, usually some people say 2.5 gallons, others recommend 5 to 10 gallons. But they are a tropical fish, and they should have filters or heaters or warm room to be in.
Yeah.
But definitely a good beginner fish, but you're with the smaller tank with betas. So if you want to go larger, I usually recommend like a 30 or 40 gallons. So it's not too much an investment if you decide it's not for you, but you still get that natural ecosystem that keeps it cleaner so that you don't have to work at it as much.
Sure.
And with that, you know, neon tetras or cardinal tetras, and most tetras can go together. So nice schooling community fish, lots of colors and movement in the tank. And then there's a lot of basic live plants out there that pretty easy care, simple lights and sand or gravel, and they don't need any special care. So.
Mm-hmm. One of the things I'd like to ask you is, so if I go to the beach, can I just grab some rocks off the beach and put them in my tank? Questions on that side of it.
You can. I do believe it is illegal, taking natural resources. I don't recommend it to people. And you'd also have to clean them and sterilize them. So you could be introducing parasites or other pests to your aquarium, which can harm your fish,
Sure.
as well as any pollution or pesticides, herbicides, anything like that, that may have leached off streams and down to the beach or wherever you're getting it from. And there's also methods of sterilizing if people do that, but there's some dangers with that too. Some people recommend to boil or bake the rocks in the oven.
Yeah.
But some rocks, especially around rivers and stuff, they actually absorb water over the thousands of years that they've been there.
Sure.
And what can happen is they get hot and inside they'll explode. So that's especially dangerous if you're boiling an open top stove, and people have really hurt themselves from doing that. So
never thought about that. Yeah.
And then if you're baking it, you will ruin your oven with an exploding rock.
Mm-hmm.
So certain rocks do, some don't.
Okay.
But you definitely, the expense is well worth it of spending the extra $10 and supporting local businesses too if you have a local fish store in the area as well. So
Yeah.
I always get my sand or rocks and decorations from there. You know, it's clean and no problems with any pests and stuff coming into the aquarium.
That's good advice, because I believe, some people say, oh, that's such a pretty rock, I should go home and put it in my fish tank.
Yeah.
When actually it could be full of toxics or poisons and kill everything in your tank. So that would be
Exactly.
really sad.
Yeah, so the fish aren't naturally from here, so it's not really their natural ecosystem to take from here as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow. So we're just ending up here for you, Curtis, but great to connect with you would be Facebook?
Facebook and Instagram is where most people contact me at. There's also a contact information form on my website, which goes to my email as well. So I have a lot of Facebook messages, probably the most popular and quickest response to get to me. So if anyone's looking at getting an aquarium installed or maintenance for one they already have, be the
this
Thanks
evening.
for having me.
And good luck on your new.
Thank you.
I would like to thank our guests this evening. Thank you to Curtis and to Paul, to Gina, and of course to Lori, and obviously our volunteers here at the Rogers Studio, and to you, our audience, for watching. Thank you, and stay tuned in 2 weeks.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
When you become a Rogers volunteer, it's always an opportunity for everybody to come together and try different things that they've never been able to.
I thought I would never even be interested in learning.
By being here at Rogers, different things that will help me be stronger.
Working here as a volunteer is a good way to get to know your community. It's a good way to learn how to work as a part of a team.
They're people from our community, so they know and they have a heart for our community to step outside of our comfort zone and do more.
Don't be afraid, because this is where you're going to gain the most valuable experience that you can use in your future.
I encourage everybody to be a volunteer at Rogers TV, because not only do you grow professionally, you grow personally as well.
This is Rogers TV, New Brunswick.
I took this picture of my wife when she was near death, waiting for a liver transplant.
And this is her now.
Hello, I'm Lise Breckenridge. A liver transplant saved my life.
What can I say? You be the judge.
Your donation will help Canadians understand the importance of pledging to be an organ donor.